With just four of you in taxes, it's not even need the live stream, I think it's a month, not maybe. Just count three apiece plus one.
I think it marked them out of 34.
Huh?
I think it marked all of our tests out of 34 instead
I
of,
thought it marked something 34, I raised it, it picked it up.
it picked it
It
up.
don't matter, you still got the right number, right?
No,
They do.
because it counted 34 as wrong.
Wouldn't matter. You still got that many right. That wouldn't matter. You put it in your name on your paper, I guess. But it doesn't matter what paper you get. Okay. Two did well, two not so well. 50-50. 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. A, B, C, D. Unless they change. Now, as usual, we look at these and see if you have, if it mismarked, or if you want to argue a point, please do so. Number one is true, number two is true. Number three is A, number four is A. Does anybody have a question on the first four?
See, I thought we said that number 2 would be false the day before.
A partnership must generally use the same tax year of the partners who owns the majority of the partnership's income and capital.
See, you said that you would count it as true, but that the textbook said it was false.
But I took true. You got true?
No, because of what you said the day before. I said, do you want us to use the book answer for the test? And you said yes.
Say it's what you put.
I had false as well.
How about you, Alexandra?
I had true.
I'll take false, but
Okay.
the answer
You
is
can go
true.
back and watch your live stream.
Yeah. Well, I remember us talking about it. I guess Lamont got it correct anyway. But yeah, generally they should. I disagreed with the book's answer, but I probably told you to take the book's answer. But true is the best answer. Number 6, true. Number 7, false.
Wait, what about number 5?
Oh, good question. Yeah, false. 5 is false. 6 is true. 7 is false. 8 is A. Any question? Nine is D as in day. 10 is true. 11 is false. 12 is true. Any question about those four? 13 is true. 14 is false. 15 is C. 16 is C.
I put 15 and 16 C and it marked it wrong.
Yeah, same for my notes.
What?
Yes.
15, 16, CC?
Yeah.
Let's see what I had on the Scantron. Well, it's no wonder. I had number 15, B and C, and 16, A and C. Boy, I must have went over. So you had C, Jessica, you got two more right then, didn't you? You had CC, how about you? CC? Add two more to your red number. And say you and Jessica had one to your red number on that partnership. It's a good thing we go over these. That's helping everybody. 17 is false, 18 is true. 19 is A, and 20 is B. What?
I had 19 marked as A and I counted it wrong.
Jessica, what you have 19 as?
A.
And my answer was A. Did you erase it, Sam?
I think I did.
Yeah, C, you got C marked in a little bit, so add one back. Yeah, if you erase, you have to erase really, really good, or it'll pick up the wrong answer. So 21 is true, 22 is false, and 23 is false. 24 is A, and 25 is C. And 26 is A. Questions? You all did pretty good on a lot of that stuff. Child care credits and all that.
Because we're actually doing them now.
Do what?
I said, because we're actually doing them now.
Yeah,
I
that
know I
helps.
understood it a lot better.
27 is B, 28 is D. '29 is D, as in day. 30 is A.
Add,
29 is D, and it counted it wrong.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute. Sorry about that. 29 is D.
We put D and it counted it wrong.
What do you mean we? You didn't know that everybody else is wrong.
Because Seth just said it too.
I know. 29 on my paper is D. Did y'all erase or something? I think I erased on 29. It didn't. Okay. That's what happened. Add one back. How about you, Alexander?
Yeah.
You could add one back. 30 was A as in apple. Okie doke. 31 is A. 32 A. 33 A. So Jessica, how many did you end up getting right?
32.
32 times 3 plus 1.
97. Yeah, 97.
Lamont got 15 and 16. Jessica, you got an extra pen.
No, he's not.
97. And say it should come out fair.
Yes, I had 4 additional ones, so that makes it 85.
28 times 3 plus 1.
Yes, 85.
They're done. And yours should come up better. Times 3 plus 1. Don't keep those tests. I don't need them. Never give the same test twice. And if I were teaching taxes next year, which I'm not, you all would Even if you gave these tests to somebody next year, good, let them study them. I make up different tests, so that's the way I feel about it. So 2 A's and 1B and almost a B. That almost a B, I will record a B on the midterm grade. So 2B's and 2A's for midterm grades. It counts for something that all of you passed, advanced on the RS test, even though I think we fudged a little bit. I feel guilty about that because we do teach ethics, but you have to pass them. We only got a certain length of time to pass them and get in there and do taxes.
And we discussed every problem in
Right.
class together, so.
Right. So it's not as we would get one person to pass it and then taking all those answers, but what have you. But we get it passed. Nathan teaches taxes next year. I hope he can get him to pass the test. I think Sarah's going to help Nathan next year. I'll be around on Tuesday night, in the fall especially. I'll teach accounting principles. And I'll start it an hour later, see if that will pick up anybody in the world of work. Start at 4 o'clock. People don't get off work at 4. Really, I should have started at 6 if I didn't have to drive home. So if I started at 5, I'll get out of here about 7:45 probably. But in the world of work, maybe if they work to 5, they can get off half an hour early and make it to that class. We'll just have to wait and see. Somewhere along the way, I don't know if it's next year or the year after, we're starting to offer the accounting classes like cost accounting, maybe taxes, but auditing, governmental, and advanced every other year because of low enrollment. So I guess everything will be taught next year. I hope so. But we've got to take care of those people who need things to graduate. Says, when do you graduate? Next year?
The year after.
So you're a sophomore? How about you, Alexander?
Next
So-
year.
So you are a junior?
Yeah.
I think Lamont's a junior too, isn't he? So 2 of you will graduate next year and 2 of you won't. But now, Jessica, you and Safe got yours started out right where you can spread out your accounting classes and not have to take 4 accounting classes in one semester. That's a good thing. But I saw that Lamont, he didn't make it today to see his paper, but so Jessica, you got how many right? 30?
32,
So you only missed 1.
yeah.
That's not bad. So do you feel like they were pretty easy to find?
Yeah.
All right. The next thing we started on was chapter 13, I think. And then we're going to start chapter 2 on corporations. So read chapter 2 by Thursday for corporations. Finally, we'll get a start of corporations.
We left off on chapter 13.
What?
We did leave off on chapter 13.
Yeah, I didn't give you any test questions. Your test questions started with 14 back to 11 and 12. I thought 14 was important because of the credits, and you are getting them at night. I thought 11 and 12 was important with the cash, the accrual method, the inventory, and those type things. Officially, we are finished with personal taxes. Even chapter 11 and 12 was business taxes. Chapter 14 was the only personal tax chapter. Now, do you think you could do a small business now, Jessica?
I think so. Yeah.
A Schedule C.
I've had to do 2 of them. So,
You did 1 for that guy the other night. Have you done 2 at night?
the lady with the ornaments.
Yeah. Have you done a Schedule C yet?
I
How about you, Alexander?
I don't think so.
Well, Jessica, turn down the next one has a Schedule C, and we'll pass it on to these guys. Okay?
They're not hard. It's just deciphering where to put it is all it is.
It's an income statement, and on the back, you do have the inventory methods, but Jessica, your two people didn't have inventory, did they?
No.
And it automatically calculates your SE, so that's a good thing. But yeah, small business. So we're strictly now into business taxes. Small business is the first one. Corporation is the second one. I don't care if we go over partnerships or not. Sub S, we will. Now, Sub S is like a partnership. If I can get you to do a Sub S, then you'll be able to do a partnership. So we'll definitely do the Sub S and the corporations. We got a half a semester to go. Thursday, and then after the spring break. I looked up that county in Georgia. There's two cases from the same home. They're quarantined. They came back from Italy. And Fulton County has 7 or 8 little townships, but it has Atlanta, Georgia in it. So that's where the virus is in Georgia. They are quarantined. Hopefully nobody has contacts with them. And I read a story where dogs cannot get the virus. Even though one tested in Hong Kong.
It wasn't that specific coronavirus.
It was, I know, but it was a carrier.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, you touch that desk can be a carrier. It's like that dog. That dog tasted or something, or smelled or something, or licked something, and had the virus on its skin, or tongue, or whatever. So cats and dogs cannot get that virus. Okay? Whoa, that's definitely way off. That's another thing we don't get it covered is the state tax. Let me get down to individuals now. All right, we talked a little bit about this last week. Now, let me give you a problem here. All right, let's say something cost. I'm gonna make it easy, 1,000. Accumulated depreciation is 200. You sell it for,
Your front TV's not on.
all right, that'll help. You sell it for 1,100. Now, I want to see what you remember. My accounting one students, Jessica, I let them all know. Now, I'm one of them use notes, but I gave them a index card. So they can't copy somebody's notes, Xerox it. They got to have their own index card for a cheat sheet. I have them put their phones up here. Because some cell phones look like a calculator, and vice versa. So I'll see them every other seat. I will take them. I warned them. And I told them it's not fair for 2 or 3 of you to miss a lot of classes, do no homework, and come here and make the best grades. When I have 3 or 4 students who work their butts off, and they didn't make the best grades. That won't happen. So, anyway, I'll stay with them, watch them like a hawk, especially those who I think cheating, and I think 2 or 3 are, especially 2 of them. There's no way they could do that well. but I don't want to accuse them because I don't have proof. I just know that one of them's got caught cheating in 2 other classes. We got a test proctor. You know about test proctor, right? He tried to cheat on test proctor. I don't know how they caught him or how he tried, but there was a controversy over that, and then he cheated in another class.
It tracks your eye movements and stuff.
Does it?
And it clocks if you open and close the page and pull up another page. So,
Tracks your eye movement. That's pretty good. I know you can take a cell phone, put it in your lap. I don't know. People can do it. Okay, we got a problem here. Cost something 1,000. Accumulated depreciation on something 200. What's its book value? That's easy. What's its book value?
800.
Sure. All right. Now we're selling it for 1,100. Here's what I want you to tell me. And my pen quit writing for some reason. How much gain do we have altogether? How much gain altogether? What? 300, right? Now, how much of that is recapture of depreciation? 200, right? So where does that go? Section 1231 or 1245? All right, 200 would probably be section 1245. Ordinary gain. And 100, section 1231, long-term capital gain. Now that's what the chapter's about. And we looked at it also. And here's the 2 classifications we just mentioned, capital and ordinary. What's the big deal about something being taxed at capital gain? Top rate is 15%. Ordinary, you may be paying 30%, right? And Jessica was right, because here's proof that Jessica was right. All right? Net, section 1231 gains, excess of 1231 gains over losses treated as long-term capital gain, 15%. Now, if you got a loss here, though, it's treated as ordinary income. It don't matter anyway, because a short-term capital loss gets ordinary income treatment. All right? Section 1231 property, we can get a long-term capital gain on a bull or a cow. How about a field of hay or corn? And of course there's coal and timber and oil. Here is your natural resources. Here's crops, and here's animals. Real or personal property, trade or business. Real property is a building, isn't it? Personal property is a computer, isn't it? So, section 1231 treatment, we usually think of this category here. We don't have much timber, crops, and livestock. What's this first word up here? Inventory is for resale. This should never be a capital gain property of any kind. Copyright. Songs. Letters. Literary compositions. Patents. Processes. Inventions. Now, artistic art. Now, I have a problem right here. Uh, if Jessica wrote a song and she has 500 in it to get a copyright on it, and she sells that to RCA Records for, let's say, $1 million, what kind of gain is that to Jessica? She gained almost 995,000, something like that. 999,500. Ordinary income, then, isn't it? Okay. I don't know how we're going to look back 5 years. Did the taxpayer have a Section 1231 gain for the current year? No. 5-year look back rules does not apply. But if yes, did the taxpayer have any 1231 losses that were deducted in previous 5-year tax year on this same property? No, you discontinue. Yes, you go on. Timber for use in trade or business. Taxpayer must own the timber and hold a contract. Gain or loss fair market value on the day of the tax year. It is cut, adjusted basis, sales price, more than fair market value equals ordinary income. Sales price less than fair market value is ordinary loss. So all timber is ordinary, isn't it? Don't matter if it's a gain or loss. Timber. Now, net capital gains and losses, you do that on anything in capital gains and losses. Long term over short term and vice versa. All right, net casualty loss from theft, we know about that. It's better just to look at the form. Gain or loss from sale or exchange of Section 1231 property, that's our capital gain property. Gain or loss from condemnation, Section 1231. So if it's condemned, it still works. Talking about a casualty, I just read that those tornadoes down around Tennessee and Nashville has already killed 21. And they're searching for others. Now Nashville's hitting close. I think my son's business in Chattanooga is about an hour and something away, and he lives in Cleveland, which is about 2 hours and something away. Vanderbilt University has a major hospital down there, and I know of a woman right now down there having a heart operation. She's my sister's sister-in-law, and they're at Vanderbilt. That's in Nashville. When I went out west, I went through Nashville and came back through Memphis. I camped at Elvis Presley campground, and the streets in that campground was named, Blue Suede Shoes or Hound Dog, Love Me Tender, whatever. I was going to go in and tour his museum, but it was ridiculous what they were charging what you saw. His antiques cars, like for example, it cost you $30 or $40. And I've seen every car he's got is an antique. And I could go online and see what his antique cars are. So I declined to pay $30 or $40 to see his antique cars. You ever listen to Elvis Presley music?
My mom loves it. She went to the museum.
So
Or
you
my dad did.
So you've heard the music.
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Seth?
Yeah, I listen to it every now and then.
How about you, Alexander?
Yep, heard several of them before.
Well, he lives on, don't he? Yeah, he was back in my time, very, very popular. I know in our town we had this one theater when he made his first movie, Love Me Tender. Lines were backed up for half a mile to get in to see that movie. And some of his other movies that came out, same thing. So, we have pop singers, and we have rock singers, we have country singers, and we have religious singers, we have soul singers, and we have blues singers. Elvis was all those. He sung every category, except he never did rap. Rap wasn't around then, and he didn't do hard rock. Wasn't as popular then. And have you heard of disco music? He didn't do any disco. So no hard rock, no rap, no disco. I don't know what happened here. Probably me goofing off. All right, so we're going to take our next capital gain. We know Section 1231 now is the long-term capital gain, isn't it? Section 1245 is ordinary. Now that's the two terms I want you to get straight. If I don't look at them in a while, I get them turned around myself and have to make sure what I'm doing. All right. Tomorrow we'll make how many nights that we will be doing taxes. Is tomorrow the 5th night?
I think 5.
All right, we did February what? We did February 5, right? And 12, and 19, and 26. 4 nights. Tomorrow is March what? And March the 11th, we're off. March the what?
18.
And the 25th, and the 32nd. I guess that'd be April the 1st,
Yep, the 8th.
the 8th,
And the last day is the 15th.
the 15th. All right. So it looks like tomorrow we're halfway finished. Now these are all booked up. I think we've only got 2 days not booked up, but they will be. So try your best to get here. We need you. If you're not here, it's hard to get everybody's finished. Nathan should be back. He does a couple of nights. Lamont, I hope he's here. I saw him today, so he's not dead. All right. And Clayton. Now, Jessica, as of these 4 days, how many have you got done?
27.
How about you, Seth?
Around 20.
And Alexander?
20.
All right, here's the deal, folks. Even if all of you reach your maximum next week, you cannot quit. This is a 10-night class. I need you all 10 nights. So you can't say I'm finished. But here's what you can do. I requested, and I know some of you may want to turn this around on me. Like I had 2 principal students this morning, they're going for baseball. And they said, well, Mr. Lester, you said you'd count our first test double. I did that only in Principles 1. I would never let them get out of corporations and bonds. So, anyway, I believe I said 45 was an A. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, I don't know why I'm not writing. 45's an A, right?
Yes.
And you got to do 5 just for the class.
Oh, 40's an A. And then 5 for the class. It was a total of 45.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. Guys, back me or Jessica up one. Did I say 45 plus 5 or 40 plus 5?
I think it's 40 plus 5.
I knew you would side with Jessica because that's in your favor.
You can go back in your lectures.
I'll stick with it. Now, that would give you an A, and 5 more is required. So anything over 45, let's say Jessica does 55. How many extra is that?
10 points.
I will give her a point on her final grade point average. Now, if her final grade point average were an 80, what would that 10 points do to it? Give her a letter grade, wouldn't it? So, now like Alexandra, this is not true, but let's say Alexandra had a 70 average. He could do 65 and get an A out of the class, because I'd give him 20 onto that. So you're not doing anything for waste. Everything counts. So I need you here every night.
I have a question though. What if I have an A in taxes, but I do like 20 to 30 more returns?
That gives you an A plus. I can't go beyond the A, Jessica.
Can I transfer that to cost?
I cannot transfer it over to another class. Cost is not taxes. I knew that's what you were coming for. Oh, Jessica, you ought to be on Let's Make a Deal sometime.
I know.
Yeah.
I should be a lawyer.
You think? All right, Section 1245 property is just ordinary income, depreciable business property. It can be livestock and automobiles. It can be amortization. What do we amortize?
Patents, trademarks.
Trademarks. Well, actually, amortize patents.
I said patents first.
Oh, and copyrights.
Yeah.
But they excluded those two, though, didn't they? But now, not from Section 1245. Section 1245 is ordinary, remember? So nothing's excluded. And real property. Now, when we get to Section 1245 and rental property, I'm going to have to go over that with you. We're going to have to refigure depreciation if we go into Section 1250. All right, any depreciable real property other than Section 1245. So Section 1250 is depreciable real property. So this the three I want you to know in this chapter. The 1231, read it well. 1245, read it well. And 1250, read it well. Now I'm not worried about 1252 and 54, whatever other 12s there are. Unaccelerated 1250 gain is taxed at a maximum rate of what? You see, Section 1250 is taxed at a maximum rate of what? But if it were 1231, it would be taxed at a maximum rate of 15. There's a difference. But 25% might be better than 30, right? Or 32. You know, low income housing, I'm sure it's been a gimmick for the landlords, the owners, getting federal subsidies. And a lot of this low income housing the federal government pay the rent. I'm saying I'm going to do Darrell Missouri taxes, and I believe he has a couple in his apartments that the government pays their rent. We won't worry about corporations till we get there. got an interesting situation. My daughter, now my daughter's a CPA, but she's zero in taxes. On the CPA exam, one question she mentioned was something real simple on payroll taxes. Probably the Social Security calculation, 7.15%, but it was easy. But yesterday, her husband's mother died. And they donate. This woman was obsessed with clothes and shoes, probably 1,000 pair of shoes, a couple of hundred coats. She was obsessed. She was pretty wealthy. All right. My daughter donated 40,000 worth of her stuff to Goodwill. That is a trouble donation, right? So my daughter calls and asks me, would we take that off her mother-in-law's taxes? I said, the mother-in-law did not know to donate to Goodwill. Your husband and his siblings did. That does not go on the deceased person or final return taxes. She did not donate anything. But your husband and his siblings decided to donate it. So divide that by 3. He has a brother and sister. Give each one 13, 3, 33 apiece to put on their itemized deductions. And I said, when you estimate this at fair market value, a lot of food pantries you take things through, they look it up. They've got a code. They look everything up. All right. But this, you must have been taking a test, Lamont. You must have been taking a test.
Oh, no, yeah, I was doing that work.
The what?
Oh, that work.
Oh, I thought I saw you out there walking in the building at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, I did, but I had to go back.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I didn't think I was seeing things because I saw Abraham also. I knew you weren't Abraham. But you and Jessica tied for the test grade. You both got 32 correct. Times 3 plus 1 is 97. Now, if you want to argue about that other 3 points, you can look at your test after class.
I had 28.
She had to argue about a few of them, which you had gotten right. Yeah. Anyway, and Lamont, we're booked up tomorrow night. We need everybody. Unless you have an excuse of being in the funeral home. If you're in the funeral home, you're excused. All right, we've been talking about section 1230, 1 and 1245. Other application of recapture provision, like kind exchanges, drilling costs. We don't go over section 1252 or any of that. But now, what does recapture mean now, Jessica? What does the word recapture mean?
Getting money back on depreciation.
It does have something to do with depreciation. All right, you took 500 depreciation this year on a $10,000 item. And you sell that item. Wait a minute. Let's say depreciation was 5,000. What's your adjusted basis?
5,000.
All right, let's say you sell it for 12,000. How much is your gain?
7,000.
All right, how much of that is recaptured?
5,000.
Correct. How much of it is long term?
2,000.
Correct. That's section 1231. Now that 5,000, that means the IRS gave it to you one time, and they're going to tax you on it at 100% recapture. They gave it to you as an expense. You got 100% deductibility. Now you're going to report it on as ordinary income, 100% taxable. Now that's fair to IRS. I don't condemn them for doing that. And that's the chapter. All right, now we're going to look real quick. Read that chapter, be working the even problems, which I've said that a couple of days ago. Now we're going to look at corporations. I want you to skip the first chapter. The first chapter of corporations tells you how the laws come about, just like chapter 1 on person. And I don't think there's a whole lot importance in it. But we'll look at corporations. That's called a C corporation. Then we'll look at sub S corporations, which is similar to a partnership. Okay. Now, here's your forms of business. Used to be 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you had your nonprofit organizations. And you had at one time called a cooperative. Like Farm Bureau was a cooperative, where individual people would get together for buying at a discount. Now, what's a LLP?
Limited liability partnership.
A LLC?
Limited liability.
I think we're wrong about the limited partnership. I think it's a limited liability personal corporation. So we'll make sure. All right. Now, Lamont, you haven't done a proprietorship yet, have you? All right, Jessica's done 2. The next proprietorships I'm going to pass around to you and Seth and Alexander.
Jessica wants some, she can have it.
I know that, but she's had experience. We've got to give you all kinds of experience. Anyway, Jessica, does it make you feel good helping those little old people?
Yeah.
And most of them are old. Have you got mad at any of them yet?
A little bit.
About what?
Just them basically getting mad at me and telling me I'm doing it wrong because they're not getting as much back as they, initially thought.
Yeah, definitely like
Or that they don't want to take something off after you put it in.
Is that older people or middle-aged people? Both.
Cause like people like get mad cause they ain't nobody taking taxes out their checks whatever, and they get mad cause like they haven't got a tax taken out. I'm like,
Tell them to go to get it taken out.
Just like the heat pump. They were fussing at B&U because they looked up on Google and Google told them that they could take it off.
Well, for what we have, it says no, right?
Yeah.
They used to. Google's probably, stuff on Google might have been on it for 12, 10 years since Google became in existence. Well, yeah, got to take the bad with the good, but most of them listen to you all as being, knowing, and being the tax authority. And they will finally take your word. Now, there's no need for us to run through these, are there? That's chapter 2 of a corporation. A proprietorship, not subject to tax. Cash withdrawal is not a dividend. You pay at your individual tax rate. If you're in a 10% tax bracket, that's all you pay on a proprietorship. Business loss can offset your other income. All right, so there's a lot of advantages to being a proprietorship. All right, profits are currently taxed even if not withdrawn. If you leave them in there, see, I had this trouble one time. I did a tax return for a small zip-in market. Well, they had net income. I had down $400,000. That's a lot. They had to pay taxes on it. And they said, well, we didn't take out but about 100. But I asked them how much those new coolers cost. How much of that new pickup cost did they put in the business? They put it back in the business, 300. Forming a partnership. I've been in a tax preparation partnership, a bookkeeping partnership, 2 used car lot partnerships. I've been in 4 partnerships. would not do them again. Don't do a partnership. Make it a sub S. Okay? Don't do a partnership. All right, there are limited partnerships. You're liable only for your capital invested. But most partnerships, see now in a partnership, you still pay personal taxes. You don't pay double like a corporation. Whatever your rate is what your tax rate is. Anything you take out is not taxable, but your part of the income is. Now, if you had a loss, you can offset your W-2 wages. And you do get this income deduction, which we'll need to talk about. Again, profits are taxed whether you take them out or not. This rate could be more than the corporation. Since the corporation right now is 21, I think I had Safe to look that up one day or somebody. You can't give tax-free benefits. This is a question on your test, Jessica. What does it say?
Must generally use calendar tax year.
All right. We know what a corporation is. You know, after you get out of principals, everything's corporation. Managerial, cost, advance. You got your corporation, half of taxes. So after you get out of principals, everything is based corporation. All right? You might get tax-free fringe benefits. Corporations will use a fiscal year. Their rate is 21 this year, as I mentioned. Now, another good thing about a corporation. Okay, Lamont, you and Alexander have a business. You have a partnership. And you pay each other $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year, right? The partnership does not do a W-2 on you. They do not deduct taxes on you. You pay your quarterly taxes. And you're going to pay 15.3% your Social Security and the business Social Security. Business pays no Social Security in partnership for the partner. Now, if you and Alexander would incorporate, even a sub S, you can pay your 7.15, what is that? You pay your Medicare and Social Security, okay? And then your business can deduct the other 7.15. Now, in a partnership, you can't lay yourself off and draw unemployment comp. But if you incorporate yourself, and if you and Alexander incorporated, you can lay Alexander off and he can draw unemployment comp. There's lots of advantages to incorporate. That's why I would at least go sub S. But here's your big advantage. And it didn't even show the big advantage. Limited liability. You can only lose what you got in it. Now the double taxation is you pay taxes on dividends. Corporations pay 21%. And if you're in a 30% tax bracket and you pay 30% on the dividends, then that's a 51% tax rate on that income of that corporation. That's why Trump reduced it. Now, it doesn't matter about a corporation tax. If it goes from 21 to 50, what's corporations going to do? They're going to charge you more for their product. Oh, here's the advantages, probably the big one. Well, Jessica, does it mention the limited liability at all?
No.
Now, let's see what an LLP is and an LLC. Available to unincorporated businesses, can elect to be treated as a partnership or corporation, that is partnership then, two or more owners, set it up, make your interest just like a corporation, that's section 351, transactions. I'll have to take your book and go into some of those 351 transactions. We know what boot is, but how it applies to section 351 is a different story. We'll have to look at that later. We know how to allocate gains and bases, so I won't look at that right now. But we'll look at that 351. All right. Now, however this comes up in the chapter, you can take off worth of securities as a loss. Now, that's all there is to that chapter. So we're going to deal with that starting Thursday. And I want you to do the even problems on chapter 13. Read the corporation chapter 2. And with that, we're finished for today. And I'll see you all tomorrow night at 3:45. 15 minutes to 4. That's 5 minutes earlier than Vince Lombardi time. His time is 10 minutes early.
Shout out to my test.